The Undisputed Era are not only done in the WWE, but they are officially dead and buried, with 3/4 of the era out of the door, and the fourth likely to follow suit, with Roderick Strong apparently also not making any moves to have his contract renewed. The WWE are confident that all 4 members will have left the company behind within the next year or so, and all 4 men are likely to reunite elsewhere. Where? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Tom Colohue, and I'm a freelance wrestling journalist who also works with Wade Keller's PW Torch. I share exclusive news and analysis without clickbait or expensive paywalls. I just report the news, free and as impartial as I can possibly be. Subscribe here, click like, and more news will come your way. Today we're talking about the Undisputed Era, a faction that literally dominated NXT and guided it to its greatest ratings, profit, and popularity. For the longest time, Adam Cole and his band of merry men was a reason to tune in and the reason to care, but things over the last year or so have become increasingly sour in the overall relationship between not just the Undisputed Era and the WWE, but also NXT and the WWE. NXT wrestlers have been aware for some time that 2.0 was coming, and they've been briefed on exactly what they're going to expect and how different it's going to be. For many of the old guard, this was the final straw. Some, like Ciampa, are happy where they are, mostly because of the limited dates they have to work, as long as they are on the NXT roster and not the main roster. Others, such as the departing Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly, are notably less interested. That said, and are you ready for your first bit of news that you won't get anywhere else? The decision not to sign new contracts for several of them actually started much earlier. A year and a half ago, on July 9th, 2020, I reported that the Undisputed Era, and in particular Adam Cole, Bay, were wanted on the WWE main roster, with particular interest being shown by members of the SmackDown creative team at the time. This did not come to pass, because the WWE wanted the Era to all come up as a single unit. They were to shock the system in the way that they had done to NXT all those months previous. This never came to pass, because multiple members of the faction did not want to go to the main roster. I'm happy talking about a few names now and how different each individual's experience was. Roderick Strong, for example, was seemingly happy to go with the flow and go to the main roster, and had enjoyed his time on 205 Live and the brief time that he spent there in a Cruiserweight Championship tournament. He essentially had a lot more trust and a lot more faith compared to, for example, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, who weren't entirely convinced. Sadly for Vince McMahon, this isn't unusual. When it comes to NXT, the grass is considerably greener on the underside, and it's becoming more and more common knowledge. Over the last few years, a large number of NXT wrestlers have either turned down call-ups to the main roster or returned to the black and gold rather than attempting to become famous or over in the way that Vince wants. This has, to nobody's surprise, rather annoyed the chairman. The main roster is supposed to be the promised land, the end destination of all wrestlers. The fact that it isn't has become a problem for Mr. Grapefruit, shall we say. The WWE wanted all 4 members of the Undisputed Era to stay. They wanted them on the main roster kicking butts and taking names. It is the Undisputed Era, not all of them but some, that disagreed. And it is ultimately that same faction that took control of their own destinies and walked away with their heads held high. They will not be the last, and certainly won't be the last from NXT. The forbidden door is open, but as it turns out when it comes to the WWE, the forbidden door is marked exit. The Undisputed Era is dead. Long live the Undisputed Era. But before we jump into what's next, please remember that you can make a massive difference on this channel just with 3 clicks. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit that bell to be the first to know the big info from our twice weekly spoiler warning news shows and breaking news and reactions from the general YouTube. Follow Tom Colohue to know what's going on without clickbait or speculation. Next for the Undisputed Era was going to be a splintering of the group, most notably with Roderick Strong staying behind. and a parting of the ways. But when Adam Cole came to AEW, he found that Bobby Fish was looking for work because of being fired. So he was able to expedite the process of bringing in Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are apparently intending to reunite Red Dragon as soon as the opportunity comes up, and that opportunity will be very soon. That leaves just one member of the Undisputed Era, the late joiner, the leader of the Diamond Mine, Roderick Strong. When I say long live the Undisputed Era, I mean they may well live forever. We have ourselves a Shield-style faction here, with stars throughout ready-made to make a big impact wherever they land. As it turns out, what actually happened is that the WWE have made them famous, and it is AEW ready and in place to capitalise on it. Even though we might not see all four of them reunite for a little while longer, the moment will come. Expect all four men to be working across multiple companies and arenas sooner rather than later, but their new home, I'm sure, will be All Elite Wrestling eventually. I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.